Are we finally becoming Fertilizer-Pilled and Amaryllis? I don't know, it's kind of too early for me to say. I've been testing the card out a little bit. I've always had a few takes on Fertilizer. I think it is better against the decks that you're kind of already good against. I think it's worse against the hate that will be brought in against you, especially post-board. I think that there's just like this weird thing where it makes you want to like play more plants, but I don't really like playing more plants like the Botanical Lion and the Lord Poison and stuff like that. It is cool that it's restriction stacks with hidden armor. I think that's a definite positive to including the card. It can also be kind of bricky, though. So there's like a lot of trade-offs with Miracle Fertilizer. I'm still kind of new to playing the card, and I'm not really sure how I feel about it one way or another. The main thing that like convinced me to play it at all was I had the thought of like, well, my big problem with it, right, is that I think it's going to lose hard to the post-board hate. But you can just play it game one and side it out, and I don't know why I didn't think about that earlier. And yeah, I will say that in roughly like 100% of games, Miracle Fertilizer ends up getting sided out because either I'm bringing in Oppression or my opponent is bringing in Fossil Dyna, and there's not a lot in between cases where like one or both of those isn't true. But that being said, that doesn't mean it's bad to play it game one just because you're siding it out all the time. So I think Fertilizer is an option that I would consider to be on the table. I mean, definitely, you know, there have been versions with Fertilizer lately that have topped. They have not been the versions that I have played, but I think Fertilizer, it's performed well enough for me to consider giving it a shot, so that's kind of what we're going to be doing today. I'm trying to incorporate it into my Shield Warrior build, because I really think Shield Warrior is the way to go. I'm like fully on the Dimitri train with the Shield Warrior. I think it's just the greatest thing ever. I mean, I love the card. I really do like it. It felt like such a missing piece for the deck for me, so I'm definitely sold on keeping this. But yeah, I mean, I'm not actually adding the additional plants, and from these games, it didn't feel like I was really missing them. It felt like, you know, usually you just want to use Fertilizer on Titanial anyway, and you pretty much always can between Lone Fire and the triple Titanial. Like, something will get milled or discarded, or you'll just draw Lone Fire, or you'll trade in, or whatever. So I felt like maybe that aspect of the card just isn't really a problem. Like, I don't really think you need to be playing those other plants that I don't like to accommodate the Miracle Fertilizer. But yeah, I mean, the build, it's relatively unchanged. I think we took out like Gores and MST, which, I mean, if I'm on Fertilizer, I think I'm cutting Gores. I mean, maybe you could still justify it somehow. MST is honestly, it probably shouldn't have even been in there between triple Lila, triple Raikou, triple Geki Break. It's just like, do we really need more ways to pick off back row in the main deck? Probably not. I mean, we're on 3 Lilas. And I think with the Shield Warrior, you definitely want 3 Lilas because it's just like another really convenient thing to protect with the Shield Warrior. So I think that kind of works out really well for the build. But yeah, without further ado, I think we can get into it and look at some replays. So we played a good few matches. I tried to find some where Miracle Fertilizer was getting found in game one, obviously, because, like I said, I sided out basically all the time. Doesn't mean it's bad, but whether I'm playing it or not, I think it's getting sided out post-board. Well, if I'm not playing it, I can't really side it out. Whether I'm playing it or not, it's not going to be in my deck of games 2 and 3. Unless, like, maybe against, like, Frogs or something. But even then, it's like they're bringing in triple Vanities, right? And maybe I'm bringing in Oppression. So even then, I think Fertilizer is basically always a post-board, goodbye, get out of my main deck type of card. We're up against Gladiator Beast. I actually played against Gladiator Beast like a ton with this. I think like we played maybe 6 games. I played against Glads twice, and they're both in this video. So if you want to know how to win the Gladiator Beast matchup, I guess step 1, just open Dust Shoot game 1. I mean, Dust Shoot's not even that good against Glads, honestly. I mean, the info maybe is kind of helpful, but Dust Shoot, another card that's obviously getting out of the main deck post board against Glads. So we get shooted back as well. So it's kind of a wash in terms of the Dust Shoot advantage anyway. I think we do get lucky here. I go straight in for this Fertilizer play. I just want to establish a second Titanial, and then he has to War Chariot. So now he can't War Chariot when I use the effect to negate later if I do that. And we hit the Dandelion, which was just very, very fortunate because I was going to have to like mark steal his guy or something, and yeah, that wasn't going to be optimal. We do draw all 3 Amaryllis, which is not good. We just negate the Dimensional Prison here, and he draws into a dead Gladiator Beast and scoops it up in that game. So, I mean, Fertilizer was used. We forced out the War Chariot. It was good, you know, threatening to summon a Titanial, very strong. But obviously, I am going to be taking out post-board against Gladiator Beast because we are bringing in 2 copies of Royal Oppression every single time in this matchup. So here they go for the Laquari. They make a weird play here, actually, where they just play straight into Mirror and Torrential. And if it was Mirror Torrential, they would have actually like eaten a huge L there. But it's not. We have to take a bunch of damage. They go into Secutor, and then we end phase Geki break the Secutor. So just not letting that go off. Here we mark. Drawing into a second Titanial, not great. I actually regretted really hard that I took out the side deck Bestie or whatever here, because obviously we could have just tagged into it and gotten like a +2 or something, or something ridiculous like that. So we get Bottomless, and then we My Body's a Shield. Okay. They draw into War Chariot, set it, pass. So we go trade in here, attack, and they don't have anything for it that doesn't target. Here's where we really pray there's no Torrential set, because we hit that Dandelion. But I think there's not. We set the Raikou. They actually swing to the Raikou. The Raikou takes out the guy. I feel like they should have swinged into a token and then forced me to Titanium Negate and then tried to War Chariot that. Probably seems like the better play, but instead they end up War Charioting the Raikou. And then here they can go for Darius. I think we just lose because they have Mirror Force. Yeah, I just play into Mirror. I'm like, I don't see a great way for me to play around Mirror here, but maybe I could have just attacked with Titanium. I don't know, but I think losing the Titanial is just so bad, though, in that situation, too. Maybe I need to swap it to defense attack with the Sidra, but I forget what their other back row were. They had, like, a Waboku and stuff, so we're probably just not winning that one. This game, we actually, a little bit rough that they have the My Body for the Geki break there, so they go into the Secutor, and then they go for Gyzaris to clear my stuff. So it's actually not looking very good. They have a War Chariot and a Rescue Cat. Fortunately, we can just out this with like our Brain Control Tribute for Sidra set. Okay, that's decent. Now Trade-in, that's kind of why we held the Geki break, actually. I'm like, oh, I could draw Trade-in, right? And then, because I was thinking about end phase Geki break, but we actually didn't do that. Now we go charge, get the Lila, try to hit a back row. We hit Waboku, unfortunate 50-50 there, but I was figuring maybe the old one didn't stop anything, I guess, was my thought. But then again, it could just be War Chariot, and you probably still just want to get rid of that. But maybe if you hit the War Chariot, they just get it back. Right now we have Geki Break and Necro Gardener. We go for the Necro Gardener, and then that's going to force us to Geki Break pitching our Hidden Armory, which we don't really want to do. But yeah, the Lone Fire is an insane draw, though, getting into the Titanial Arc Cope card for this matchup. And we have Lethal on board. I maybe should have attacked with the... Actually, I don't know. I don't know if the order matters, because we're just killing them no matter what, right? So we get in for 3,000 with the Amaryllis, and then we hit in with 21 for the Cyber Dragon. So we somehow pulled that one back after getting that whole Secutor turn 1 thing. That would have... It's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy, actually. I didn't feel like that was going to be our game, but hey, we had the tools, so yeah. Next match, Gladiator Beast again. God. They opened a pretty bad hand, which happens more than you would think in this sort of back row deck. Because if you draw too many monsters, you brick. But if you draw too many back row, you also brick. So it's like a sort of awkward balance you need to strike there. We take away the Test Tiger too. Opening Dust Shoot again. Actually so savage turn 1. I'm such a lucker. What was I doing? So Fertilizer going to be lost here when we normal summon the Torrential. Torrential was a great draw for them in that situation. We're just going to mirror. We don't want to lose any of our tokens. We just want to tribute this out. With the Geki Break, I think we can go for the Titanial, and then Geki Break pitch the Amaryllis seems good. And then we chain Geki Break onto the Samnite, and we pretty much just win the duel right then and there because they have no way to not die next turn. So, honestly, it does feel like in these specific games, the Fertilizer is contributing to us having enough gas to just win game 1. Obviously, I think it should always come out game 2, at least in this matchup, because, like, yeah, we're bringing in oppression and stuff, but I don't know, just, like, every time I'm siding in this deck, I'm looking at that Fertilizer, like, yeah, I'm probably going to want you out post-board, but whatever. Opponent runs over our thing, okay, fine, we go Lila. Book of Moon gets chained, okay, we set Geki Break. So we have Geki Break and Necro Gardener. The Geki Break going to be chained, taking out the Glad Beast. Now we can Gardener the other one, but we are still losing our Lila. However, he doesn't set any back row, so we just run this thing straight over with our other Lila, get some mills, hit a Dandelion, and then revive the Phoenixine Cluster Amaryllis. So not a terrible spot here. See, this game is the other scenario I talked about where he didn't draw enough monsters this time, basically. Well, actually, he had a few, right? He just, like, lost them. But still, like, you want to have more because he's out. And if he had a Glad Beast, it would obviously be way better. He makes a bit of a mistake where he books my Lila when I activate the effect, so we can just flip it straight back up. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. And then we bring out the Titanium, and we swing over, and now we're getting in for some good damage. End phase, we're going to mill 3, revive that Amaryllis, and basically no he comes back from there. So, hey, we took out Glads twice. Got to be feeling good about that one. Final match, we are up against Lightsworn. This matchup, I think, might actually be, like, one of the harder ones. At least, like, one of these, you know, standard Lightsworn builds with, like, Gold Sark, where it's just Judgment Dragon Turbo. I think Amaryllis has a lot of trouble with a Judgment Dragon, specifically. Like, that card is just super annoying. I think you always got to, like, hold your Geki Break to out the JD or something in this matchup. Or, I mean, you can also just rush them down, which is... It's kind of a thing against Lightsworn where that can feel like the way the game is a lot is you're just racing them. But then it comes down to basically who draws better. Because, like, if they just draw good, you can't rush them down, obviously. But if they draw bad, you can. So, yeah, there's not a lot you can do to establish JD. And we weren't able to do much damage to them this game because they had some, like, crazy, foolish Celestia opening on our Raikou, and we didn't have any setup. So now I think we just lose, because no matter what we do, we can't out the JD, and we can't get them below the threshold where they can pay for the Judgment Dragon. So I guess generally in this matchup, you're probably just going to want to try to get them super low early on, so that they can't just, like, solo you with JD. Because answering the JD itself is pretty hard. Like, killing them with the JD on the field, if they're low enough, isn't that hard. Because they just paid 1,000, and you're playing, like, the aggro... sort of burn deck, and we have Mark of the Rose to steal their guy, but actually outing the JD is pretty tough. So yeah, here, I mean, we just, like, sack them. they have a bad hand. See, this is kind of the opposite situation where we're rushing them down because they have a slow hand, and we shooted them on to add insult to injury, and now they're so low, it's like, how do we ever lose? You know, we have an Amaryllis in rotation. Even if they fucking get some Judgment Dragon nonsense going, it doesn't really matter. They should have Gardenet at some point, though. I think they just, like, forgot. Or maybe they were thinking, like, they have to hold on to Gardenet to get the Dark Arm Dragon live. But, yeah, obviously they just die there. So they probably should have Gardenet. Maybe try to live another turn. Here, we're the ones who get Dust Shooted. Not great for us. We're not in a terrible spot, I guess. Then he mills a Wolf, though. Gets a free plus. And he swings into the Raikou. Kind of messes up the order. Probably should just hit with the Wolf first. And then I would just take a little more damage. Here we get a nice hit off the Armory, getting the Lone Fire in play. We really needed that. Unfortunately, we don't mill anything worthwhile. I felt like maybe we could DDR, and then I do this weird thing where I bluff set the trade-in, and we get stormed, and I just could see... I mean, we're probably losing this one anyway. They're going to get more mills with the Trooper. They have 2 JDs. They top-decked Gores. But... I don't know. I don't really think losing one less back row off of this Storm is going to change anything for us. Honestly, we're just cooked this game. But yeah, the JDs definitely could be annoying. Miracle Fertilizer was, like, decent in game 1, but our field just got obliterated by the Judgment Dragon. So, I mean, I think I've talked at length about my thinking regarding Fertilizer in this video. So, pretty extensive summary of my thoughts. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. As always, hope you guys enjoyed. Give the video a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one.